God owes me something. God owes me. So here's what I want to do. I want to talk about, this is a really, really big deal. If you're like, raise your hand if you have contentment. If I walked up there, most of you would be like, I struggle with discontentment. Yeah. It's a cute little problem. No, this is a really, really big problem because if we don't figure this out, it's going to manifest itself in other bigger ways. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to give you 10 ways to be more content. I'm kidding. I just want us to just think just a little bit different. Like what if we just had just a different thought process when it comes to contentment in our lives? So in Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7, this is Solomon. He says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So Psychology 101 says your thoughts lead to feelings, which lead to behaviors. So we got to attack our thoughts first. So as a man thinks, or he or she thinketh in his heart, so is he. So what if we just thought just a little bit different? So here are some thoughts that I have in my own life when it comes to discontentment. Right here, that one. I say it all the time. I said it to my buddy Ryan down here this morning accidentally. I say I want all the time. How about this one? It's not fair that I don't have that job. It's not fair that I don't have that car, spouse, house, beach house, name it. How about this one? I am entitled to. Woo-wee. It's a good one for this generation right now. In John Ortberg's book, Soul Keeping, write that book down. That's one of the best books you're ever going to read. That's your 24 reading list, okay? Soul Keeping, John Ortberg. In it, he said that the default mode of every single human being is entitlement. The default mode. So all of us struggle with this. And then what he says it leads to? An ungrateful heart. Like we're not thankful for the things that we do have. I am entitled to. How about this one? If I just had that salary. You said that, man, if I just made $60,000, I promise you I'll be content. So here's what I want to do. I want to attack these thoughts with a couple thoughts that Solomon gives us. So Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs. He wrote the book of Song of Solomon, married couples. You got to read that tonight. It's a great book. And he also wrote the book Ecclesiastes. So Ecclesiastes is basically the meaning of life. So Solomon, if you know a little bit of history, he was one of the richest people to have ever lived. Historians say that he was valued at $2 trillion. Like he had so much money, he had everything. God gave him that wealth. But he was also one of the wisest people to ever live. So we're going to dive in 5 verses in Ecclesiastes next 10 minutes, and we're going to think differently. All right, you ready? He says, then I observed that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbor. So most people, if you're sitting in a room, it's like, nah, this isn't for me. Solomon, just pushing back a little bit, the wisest person ever lived, says most people struggle with this. Are motivated to success because they envy. That envy, at the root of it, actually is that God owes me something. God owes me. In 1997, Ted Turner, he gave $1 billion to the United Nations. A reporter, after he gave the $1 billion, goes, how did you feel giving away $1 billion? Like, was that not amazing? And you know what his response was? You got to look it up. It's fascinating. He says, honestly, not very good, because Warren Buffett, he's got so much more than I do. You're like, what? You just gave away $1 billion and you're still a billionaire and you can't even be happy with what you have. See, most people, rich, poor, we'll keep going. But this too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. We're going to come back to this idea of chasing the wind. Fools fold their idle hands, leading them to ruin. It's like this like pendulum swings in our society. It's like if I can't have everything, then I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to sit in my mom's basement, play Call of Duty all day, and I'm not going to do anything. It's like this weird pendulum. If I have to have it all, there's got to be a middle ground. He tells us what the middle ground is. And yet, better to have one handful with quietness. So other translations say tranquility. Like that's a beautiful word, tranquility, the peace. It's that joy, it's that satisfaction. Then 2 handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. I want to come back to this idea of chasing the wind. The wisest person who ever lived says if you live a discontent life, it's almost like you are chasing the wind. So let me give you an example. My buddy Cody, he's down here. You guys know Cody, he's Greenwood campus pastor, but he was also the guy that taught last week. So all of our campuses, Cody Johnson, one of our favorite campus pastors. Let's just say that we all gathered here at the Greenwood campus today. And you pulled up about 8:45, And you see Cody, and he's out in the parking lot, and he's got this jar in his hand, and he's got this lid, and he's just bolting up and down the parking lot. And you're like, what is he doing? I wonder what he's doing. He's pouring sweat. He's got a Philadelphia Eagles jersey on. As a Cowboys fan, I don't know why anyone would wear that. But he's running around, fly, Eagles, fly, and he's trying to catch the wind. And you walked up to him, you would be like, hey, Cody, you catching fireflies? Like, what are you doing? What if he looked at you and he goes, no, honestly, I'm just trying to catch a little wind, because if I catch this wind, I put it in here, I go to bed tonight, right when I lay down, I open the lid, wind blows in my face. It's amazing. You would do one of two things. You would call 911, or you would grab your little kids underneath your arms and you would back away slowly from Cody and you would run away and you would never, ever come back. That's Solomon's idea of chasing the wind. Does that make sense? So what if the next time those little thoughts come up into our mind, we just said this. We just said this out loud. Come on, that's just chasing the wind. Like, I want this. That's just chasing the wind. I'm entitled to. Come on. That's just chasing the wind. What if in this holiday season that we're coming up on, we just said that. Every time those feelings start coming up, we replace that thought with, that's just chasing the wind. So